We're back in the van!
In case you missed that, we're Katie and Dan, and we split our time between living in the van, traveling abroad, hanging out in our condo back home in Canada. Right now, we are on our biggest van trip yet.
We're going to Mexico.
But not quite yet. We're currently on our way out of Nashville.
We left home about a week ago and drove through Kentucky, stopping at Mammoth Cave, our 29th national park.
Then we spent the last few days exploring Nashville. We walked down Broadway, we worked from the van, or in my case, a few different coffee shops, and we saw some of the local attractions,
including the Opryland Resort. So you've probably heard of the Grand Ole Opry. Well, there is a very extensive resort on the same property that I think would be impressive at any time of year, but especially around the holidays. There are beautiful lights, even live ice skating performances, so we spent an evening exploring it. Not something that we necessarily expected to do in Nashville, but honestly, it was probably one of our favorite things. For a couple days, and I'm still trying to find my routine for working from the van. I'm just leaving a coffee shop and walking back to the park where the van is parked with Dan in it. There's definitely pros and cons to van life in the city versus van life out in nature. I really love when we're visiting a city that I have the ability to walk places. The thing is, when you're parked up in the city, you need to be a little bit cautious and a little bit stealthy and really pay attention to where you're actually allowed to park overnight and where you can kind of park for free during the day. We used 24-hour street parking to sleep overnight and then went to a public park to park for the day. And then I can walk to coffee shops, which I love. You don't have to be as stealthy when you're parked out in nature. There's the van. Hi, Vanjie.
And we got to catch up with some friends. This was actually a crazy coincidence. Back in June, when we were in Grand Teton National Park, we met a few people that were camping in the same part of Shadow Mountain that we were. And when I posted on Instagram that we were in the area, they reached out and were like, let's meet up again. So we went out for dinner. It's so fun to get to do social stuff like that when we're on the road, because otherwise it's really just the two of us. So it was super fun to get to reconnect with some people that we met because of our van adventures. So a shout out to Yoseli, Caitlin, Kara, and Connor if you guys are watching. It was great to see you.
Right now, we're headed west on the I-40, and we're trying to get to Phoenix by the end of November.
At the end of November, we're actually going to be leaving the van in Phoenix so we can go home for Christmas. And then in January, we're coming back to get Vanjie, and then we're headed into Mexico.
But we've got a lot to see in the next few weeks. We're excited to take you along.
After Nashville, it was on to Memphis. Our first stop in Memphis was the National Civil Rights Museum, which is housed in the historic Lorraine Motel. The Lorraine Motel is the site of Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination, and the museum takes you through the entire history of civil rights, starting from the transatlantic slave trade all the way up to Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination and beyond. It's an incredibly informative museum with lots of powerful displays, and I'm really glad that we took the time out to see it. However, Memphis is not only known for its history, but also its culture, particularly its contribution to American music culture. Memphis is known as the home of the blues and the birthplace of rock and roll, and that became more apparent as we drove past the Orpheum Theater and ended up on Beale Street.
So welcome to Beale Street here in downtown Memphis, Tennessee.
It's happened.
I don't know if this street is always closed, but right now, lots of pedestrian action. This is very fun, and the lights are super cool. So this is the old A. Schwab store and soda fountain that was established in 1876. So it's been operating as a family-run business for over 100 years. Whoa, we are not on Beale Street anymore. No, in fact, we are deep in the suburbs to go to Cheesecake Factory, but we have a good reason. It's Dan's birthday. Honestly, it's delicious. Can you blame us? Later that night, we also had another celebratory moment. Here we are. This is a new state for us. Tennessee, 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 Arkansas. After a pleasant evening out in Memphis, Tennessee, including going to the Cheesecake Factory for Dan's birthday. Everybody say happy birthday, Dan, in the comments. We have arrived in Little Rock, Arkansas.
At the park.
This is cool. So we've just arrived at the Riverfront Park here in Little Rock, Arkansas. And I guess this is called the Junction Bridge. Yeah, it seems like it at one point was maybe a rail bridge or something. Now it's a pedestrian walkway, and you've got really great views of the river and the city from here.
This is exactly what I needed, just a chill day. We've been going pretty hard in this first week on the road.
Yeah, it's been busy.
It's just such a gorgeous day to be out for a walk.
It's beautiful. It really has been a busy week. We were just reflecting this morning on how we left Ontario exactly a week ago today, and that feels like so long ago because we have been to Buffalo, and then we went to Cave City, Kentucky, where we saw Mammoth Cave. Then we were in Nashville for a few days, and we did a bunch of stuff in Nashville. Then we were in Memphis for literally just a day.
And now we're in Little Rock for just a day.
Yeah, we're moving on towards Hot Springs, Arkansas later, but we are hoping that, in the next week or so, we're gonna start taking a bit of a slower pace. We've done about half of the hours of driving that we need to for this whole month, and it's only been a week, so that'll hopefully let us have a slower pace.
It actually feels like we've experienced a whole season because we've been reliving fall as
Yeah.
well. Like here there are
There's actually leaves on the trees here. Yeah.
fall colors here, whereas at home all the leaves have fallen.
Yeah.
So it's like it feels like we've lived a whole season of life
Yeah.
just this last week.
We went from winter and then back into fall, and soon enough, we'll be back where it's summer. So that's exciting. Oh yeah, we've got this.
Oh,
It's a
I
little...
hope it hasn't spilled.
No, it hasn't spelled. It's just kind of watery. Maybe. We can't forget the Dean's French onion. This is very exciting for later. Like I mentioned, we went to the Cheesecake Factory, so obviously we have leftover cheesecake for dessert. So it's an exciting day here in the van.
All right.
to Dan for having the patience of a saint to be able to organize this trunk, because we are fitting the maximum amount of stuff in here. So hello, we have been working all day from this casino parking lot in Arkansas, and we're actually just outside of Hot Springs National Park, and we're packing up for the day, and we're gonna go head out and see Hot Springs. So where are we going?
Our 30th national park is going to be a kind of unusual one. In fact, I don't think it's going to look very much like a national park at all. But it is going to have some cool architecture and some interesting experiences. Of course, I'm talking about Hot Springs National Park in Arkansas. Heights and elevators. Hot Springs National Park is actually a little different than most national parks in that the park itself is a small area, and a lot of that area is what they call Bathhouse Row, which is this line of something like 9 historic bathhouses. They're all here because the mountain that we're on now, this hill, is the source of a hot springs. There's actually cold springs as well. That all originate from here.
We've come down from the mountain, from the observation tower, and now we're heading over to Bathhouse Row to walk through this really cute historical downtown area.
Like, check out that place.
There's some really neat old buildings here.
Try it.
Yeah, go for it.
It's hot.
It's hot.
I should have expected it. Yeah, this tastes like water. Hot.
Yeah.
I don't have a refined enough palate.
Oh, it is hot.
It's warm. What is this? Do you not know how to use a drinking fountain, ma'am?
It's hot on my lips. So hot.
That's such great footage.
It's just weird because, like, I know how to drink hot stuff, and I do drink hot stuff all the time.
But not in
not
drinking
out of
fountain
a
format.
drinking fountain. Yeah, it's startling.
This place was really in its heyday in the 1800s. People believed that the hot springs water had all these wellness and curative properties, that it could cure any ailment. And that massive building up there was a federal hospital for the army because they thought that this special water could treat a wide variety of ailments. And I think a lot of that's been disproven. You know, there's some minerals in the water, but it's not a cure-all, of course. However, like massages and spa treatments, still really popular around here.
Fascinating how before all of the current buildings were here, most of these bathhouses were wooden Victorian style structures, and at some point they all had to be like, guys, wood ain't it, it's rotting, we can't do this, we gotta switch to masonry. And I just think it's so funny that there was a time that, like, did they not see that coming?
Well, like, just about everything was built out of
like having
wood
hot
back
tubs
then.
inside a wooden building.
Yeah, you're right.
I guess if they'd never done it before, then they didn't know.
Bad idea from the start.
I just find that really funny. This is the ladies' bath hall. All of these stalls just have a bathtub inside of them. It's so weird. Some of this stuff seems like cool and vintage and elegant, and other stuff seems just like scary. Like it's a torture device.
this on a steam gun. And that's the freaking electro tub or whatever. Electro-hydric bathtub. Like, they legitimately put electricity through this.
That's so bad.
Steamed.
Boiled.
We're like a steamed bao bun.
Yeah. Hot Springs National Park was definitely lots of fun. Very unique national park compared to what we've done in the past.
Yeah.
And I think this is probably a good place to wrap up this week's vlog. It has been a whirlwind first week back in the van. It's felt like we've been gone a lot longer than that. But there are so many more adventures to come. So subscribe, make sure you stay tuned, and we'll probably catch you next week.
Bye.